morning, sun's a bit hazy, checking the forecast, things looking crazy. A storm on the horizon, the pressure is low, gotta get moving, put on a show. The news is all buzzing, state of alert, but we've got a plan, we're ready to work. Emergency Management Associates, we're here for the crisis, we're here for the fates. From the first sign of trouble to the all clear sign, we're on the front lines, we're one of a kind. Emergency Management Associates, we're the calm in the chaos, we're opening gates, connecting the dots and making the calls. We're picking you up when you're starting to fall. See a little fire or a rising flood, we're a well-oiled machine, we're running in the mud. From the city hall meetings to the rescue teams, turning worst case scenarios into hopeful dreams. We're training the people, we're stocking the gear, we're the team you can count on when trouble is near. Emergency Management Associates, we're here for the crisis, we're here for the fates. From the first sign of trouble to the all clear sign, we're on the front lines, we're one of a kind. Emergency Management Associates, we're the calm in the chaos, we're opening gates, connecting the dots and making the calls. We're picking you up when you're starting to fall. It's more than a job, it's a calling, you see, prepared for the present and what's yet to be. Every second counts, we're ready to react for our communities, we're making an impact. Emergency Management Associates, we're here for the crisis, we're here for the fates. From the first sign of trouble to the all clear sign, we're on the front lines, we're one of a kind. Emergency Management Associates, we're the calm in the chaos, we're opening gates, connecting the dots and making the calls. We're picking you up when you're starting to fall. Yeah, we're picking you up, we're ready to go. EMA, let's get this show on the road.
We're on the go. We are ready for it. Emergency Management Associates is on the air. How about that, guys? We're here for you 24/7, bringing you the news about everything going on all around the world and here in the United States as well. We are an international program. When I first started this program some 6.5 years ago, I thought I would be only broadcasting to the United States of America. That has not been the case since. Almost immediately, we started broadcasting to the entire world. Okay? Almost immediately, the entire world started chiming in with us here on our program. We appreciate all of you so much. Thank you for being here. Okay? I want to first say that thank you all for being here. Now, we have a lot of people here already. I want to give you some housekeeping information here. Please keep checking your subscriptions here. If you want to be subscribed, want to know when we're coming on the air, the first thing to do is make sure you check your subscriptions, because YouTube, again, is unsubscribing people. They don't like me because I tell the truth. I do everything I can to get emergency information out to the world. That's what we do best. We talk about it all the time. They don't like me, so they keep unsubscribing people. Please, if you're not subscribed already, please subscribe. Okay? When you do that, there's a little bell icon also. Click on that bell icon once you're subscribed. Click on that bell icon and drop down menu of 3 items is going to come up. The top item should be all, ALL, all. That means you get notified when we come on the program. But be advised, YouTube does not always notify everybody when we come on the air. Most of our mods don't get notified anymore. They have to resubscribe almost 3 times a week now to remain subscribed to our program. So guys, make sure you're still subscribed to our program. Make sure you want to be notified when we come on the air. We come on the air sometime after 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday. Between 4 and 5 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday. On Saturdays and Sundays, we usually don't come on the air except for Sunday school on Sundays, unless something has happened. When something major happens around the world, we come here and talk about it because we want to make sure you're notified of what's going on. We've always done that. We're always going to do that. Also, besides that, be advised, we're here for you, okay? All weekend long, 7 days a week. But if nothing happens, we usually are not coming on the air to talk about it unless something does happen. On Sunday mornings, about 12:30 noon, we come on the air for Sunday school talking about Jesus Christ. I appreciate all of you that join us here for our Sunday program. It's a wonderful time to be together. Okay, I love each and every one of you. Terry Flores is here from Idaho. Idaho in the house. Thank you for being here. Terry, did you know that I'm from Pocatello? Yeah, I'm from Idaho. Okay, I might have lived all around this country. I lived in Idaho when I was born there for 11 years. Moved to North Dakota for 5.5 years. Then we moved to California, San Diego. Then I moved to Colorado. Then I moved to Salt Lake City. Then I moved to North Carolina, where I'm at now. We're still here for you all the time. We started this program in 2016 in Sandy City, Utah. We've been here ever since. We're not going away. We're not going away. We're here. Okay? We've been here. People recognize us here, and we're going to stay here. Okay? We're going to stay on the air. Joe Shinpa is asking, has there been any activity in Yellowstone? The answer is no. All there have been are some minor tremors and microquakes. That's all that's happening in Yellowstone. I keep an eye on it. I get a bulletin from Yellowstone every morning. Nothing's going on, just tremors. I go to the Utah State University seismology laboratory and check it on every morning. And if anything changes, I'm looking at it. I check it every morning. Nothing is going on in Yellowstone. I hate these people that say, oh, Yellowstone's going to blow. Yellowstone is not going to blow anytime soon. Why is that? It's simple. If you think about it, it's simple. There has to be activity there. There has to be earthquakes. Okay? Earthquakes caused by magma. Earthquakes over 4.5 to 5.0 magnitude. Once they have consistent 4.5 to 5.0 magnitude earthquakes consistently, day after day, even several times a day. Once that happens, yes, there would be a possibility for an eruption at Yellowstone. It's just not happening. Not going to happen. A couple years ago, there was a magma surge under Yellowstone Lake. Under Yellowstone Lake, there was what they call a dike that looks just like this. Magma coming in through the ground under the lake. But it stopped. And it stopped about 1 mile underneath the lake. Now that rock is hardened. That lava rock is hardened. Okay? It's not going to go anywhere. At the time that magma was pushing up, the lake was heating up because there was hot magma underneath it. The heat radiates upwards, doesn't it? Absolutely does. But as a result of that lava dike, a magma dike pushing up, it's hardened now. It's not going anywhere. There's no activity at all at Yellowstone Lake. And if that changes anywhere around Yellowstone, I'll tell you about it. I promise you that. I will tell you about it. Again, it has to be at least 4.5 to 5.0 earthquakes happening every day for an eruption to take place. Now that has happened at St. Helens. It's happened at Mount Rainier. It's going to happen again. We're still getting 3.0 to 4.0 earthquakes at Mount Rainier and Mount St. Helens. But right now, it's not anywhere near going to erupt. Okay, it's not going to erupt anytime soon, I don't believe. That could change. Again, once these volcanoes start having earthquakes, magma-caused earthquakes in the range of 4.5 to 5.0 in magnitude, nothing's going to happen. We are monitoring Rainier, we're monitoring Mount St. Helens, and to some extent also Mount Hood. Mount Hood is nowhere near ready to erupt, but St. Helens and Mount Rainier have been showing signs of eruption, so we're monitoring it. And I've told you already about a month or so ago, Mount Rainier had erupted ash. They had a minor ash eruption. There was ash at the top summit of Mount Rainier. Yeah, ash. Prior to that, for the past year or so, it's been steaming off and on. There's almost always steam coming from Mount Rainier. Always. Okay, always. The pictures you get from Mount Rainier webcam are old pictures. They're old pictures. Okay? It's unreal what USGS wants to know and what they don't want you to know. They put up old pictures on the webcam. They're not recent pictures at all. Okay, I want to make that clear. Tomorrow we will talk about pneumatic fault. Thursday we're going to talk about the Pacific Northwest and what's going on there, including the volcanoes. Okay, today we're going to be talking about Southern California. But prior to us talking about Southern California, we talked about something that happened last night. Actually, it happened last Thursday, and someone mentioned they wanted to talk about it, so I instantly brought up the topic. A plane on flight from Denver to Los Angeles or San Francisco was en route in the air from Denver, and something struck the windshield. Something struck the windshield. This is what it looks like. It struck the upper corner of the window. Okay, there's what they call windscreen. There's laminated window, laminated glass there. And they put a windscreen through it to make sure the glass would not shatter and completely blow out. So there would not be a loss of pressurization in the cabin. They purposely do that. Fortunately, that's what happened. The window did shatter, but up in the upper corner, it made its way through. Okay? The object didn't make its way through, but the glass shattered inside. Okay? Let me talk about it. Okay? Last Thursday, United Airlines Boeing 737 had diverted from Denver to Salt Lake City when it was hit by what they call space debris, according to the captain of the airliner. Okay? Aviation John, New York City, took these photos I'm showing you now. I'm going to show you two more in just a second. But he reported this. It was actually the first person to report the theory about space debris. Okay? Along with the captain. Along with the other photos of damage to the cockpit's windshield, the photos of the captain's arm that sustained the injury. Let me show you that. Right there. Here's the photo of the window that shattered there. Here's the captain's arm that had glass pockmarks on his arm. Okay. After reporting the event, the airliner diverted to Salt Lake City International Airport. The diversion was due to a crack in one layer of the windshield, one layer of the outside layer of the windshield. Localized overheating. Okay, localized overheating. Let's go back to that crack I showed you just a second ago. Look at the overheating here. You see the charred area of the windshield and also the upper part of the windshield bay that holds the glass on the plane. Look at the overheating there. Now, airflow over the aircraft can heat up the aircraft. Okay? Air flowing over the outside layer of the plane can heat up the outside part of the plane. Okay? In this case, there was some kind of debris that hit the windshield. Okay? It also hit the outside of the window, as you see here. Okay? There was heating. Now, whether it was space debris that was heated up going through the atmosphere, that's possible. That's possible. The other theory is hail. Hail. There were storms out over the area. It wasn't just over Salt Lake City, over the Rocky Mountains there, but I want to tell you this. Storms, lightning, and hail can travel long distances away from the original storm. So now they're talking about this possibly being hit by hail. Okay? But the localized heating and thermal stress on aircraft causing the outside ply of the window to crack and leave heat discoloration, or what they call scorching marks. Okay? The risk of space debris to aviation is minuscule. A 2023 FAA report found an annual 0.1% chance, that falling space debris would cause a single global aviation casualty. 0.1%. Okay? An individual passenger risk less than trillion to 1. An individual passenger risk would be 1 trillion to 1. There has not been one single commercial space debris strike of a commercial aircraft on record. There's not been one single strike on a commercial airliner from space debris. The photos here certainly suggest an external impact, but I am skeptical of space debris as the cause. Okay? I study space. The original reason that I went into geology was because I wanted to become an astrophysicist. I wanted to become an astrogeologist. I wanted to go into the cosmos. I wanted to study geology on the moon, Mars, and elsewhere. That's why I went to school. Okay? I study space. There's tens of thousands of pieces of space debris out in space orbiting the planet. Tens of thousands of pieces, originating back in the late 1950s when when Russia launched Sputnik and we launched our first weather satellite. Okay? Space debris out there. Pieces of rocket body, boost rockets that launched the spacecraft and the satellites into space. Pieces of rocket bodies are in space right now. Pieces of spent satellites. Satellites have actually got hit by space debris in orbit. Now, about a year or so ago, we had another incident with Russia. Russia launched a satellite to kill satellites. They actually killed one of our satellites, shot it with a laser and blew it up. All that debris is circling the Earth as well. Now, after that satellite blew up in space, pieces of the satellite were racing towards the International Space Station. They had fired the spacecraft that was attached to the International Space Station and put the space station into a higher orbit. That way, the space station would not be affected by that satellite debris racing around the Earth. Okay? Now, the space station, on a realistic basis, I believe it's several times a year, has to use one of these spacecraft engines to launch it higher into space orbit around the Earth. Okay? But like I said, I am very skeptical of space debris as being a cause of this hit on the aircraft. Okay? I'm showing you the interior photos of the aircraft. This is the exterior photo. This is also here one of the interior photos showing the outside part of the glass being shattered. The screen, the break screen of the window stopped the entire window from collapsing. And the interior part of the window, yes, it shattered. And the glass hit the captain's arm, causing minor injuries. Okay. This is another picture here. Okay. Like I said, I had two pictures here. Let me see something. I may even have another one here. Actually, this next one I'm going to show you is an aircraft that was inbound or bound from Boston, Massachusetts to Los Angeles. This is in 2017, August 7th, 2017. Okay. In this case, the window got hit and also the nose cone of the aircraft was hit, completely shattering it. Okay. That's what happens. Dozens of marks on the surrounding nose also were hit with hail. The damage to this aircraft was from hail. No soot, no arc trails from the debris hitting the windshield or the nose cone of the aircraft, which would have been heated up from the space debris going through the atmosphere. No soot trails, no arc trails from the possible hitting of the aircraft, and also the heat of the space debris coming through the atmosphere would have left what they call arc trails. Electrical and hot debris hitting the aircraft, arc trails, and localized burn spots. Okay, that's what you would expect with a space debris hit. Okay, but in this case, it didn't happen. Here in Boston, this is the aircraft as it returned to Boston Airport. Here you see the nose cone badly damaged and also the windshield of the aircraft. The aircraft didn't get knocked down and nobody got hurt. My best guess from this flight from Denver to Salt Lake here is that the hail strike hit the plane. And the outboard glass ply of the airliner was basically shattered. This was at cruising altitude, anywhere from 30 to 36,000 feet high. Okay, that matches far better than an external electrical fault or debris marks. Okay, hail from a storm. Compare this to hail encounters where cockpit windows completely go blank. That didn't happen either on this plane that landed in Salt Lake City or this one that had returned to Boston. Okay, the cockpit window didn't go opaque. Yes, the area is pockmarked. Okay. There was also another case, and I don't have the pictures from it. There was an Austrian Airbus 320 that was headed to Vienna, and it got also hit. Now, I don't have the pictures from that, but it's a frequent occurrence throughout the world at some point in time. The abrasions on the pilot's forearm that I showed you here, let's go back to that. The abrasions here on the pilot's forearm were incidental to the contact with hail. Minor glass dust. Okay. Abrasions on the pilot's forearm on the cockpit shot need an explanation. Minor glass dust or incidental contact during the recent incident might look like this. The photo from the inside cockpit has frosted or an opaque look, which is what I'd expect when outboard glass fractures get hit. Okay, there is no hole or penetration visible from the outside. There is no hole or penetration from the outside. Okay, the impact signature from the outside photo that I showed you, let's go back to that. This outside photo here, okay, has a frosted effect from the impact, okay, but there's no hole or penetration outside at all. The impact signature and random peppering appear to be textbook hail. This is not something you actually see at 36,000 feet. There's an FAA circular out that talks about hail and thunderstorms above 35,000 feet. The FAA has talked about it before. Now, hail can be ejected and fall well away from the storm's core. Okay? Hail can be ejected from the storm from a long distance. Now, I had an occurrence with a friend of mine that was hit by lightning up on top of Echo Mountain outside Denver, west of Denver. There was Echo Lake, and the mountain above it, I believe it's Mount Evans above it, was hit by lightning. My friend was there. Okay? He was slightly injured from the lightning strike. The lightning came from 7 miles away from the mountain. 7 miles away. That's wild. But again, this is my bet that this was a hail strike to this aircraft. We can't rule out space debris. Okay? I've talked to quite a few people, airline pilots, and I talked to an FAA air traffic controller friend of mine, and we can't rule out space debris. However, hail seems like the more realistic bet here. Okay? Does anybody have any questions? Any questions about that? Joe Shinpa says bird strikes don't hit airplanes any favors either. No, they don't do airplanes any favor at all. Bird strikes, however, don't go that high. You might have a bird strike at 1,000, 2,000 feet high, but nothing much higher than that. Birds don't fly that high. The higher it gets, the colder it gets. Birds don't fly up that high. Bird strikes usually happen near the ground when the aircraft is either taking off or landing. Okay? In fact, whenever there's a chance of bird strikes, the air traffic controllers tell the pilot about it. I have a pilot friend going out of Texas almost every day. They fly a private passenger plane. Okay? When I've heard the air traffic controllers talk about they're taking off or landing, I've heard air traffic controllers talk about bird strikes in the area near the end of the runway. That happens. But the bird strikes usually happen near the runway, okay, within about 1,000 or 2,000 feet. Any questions? All right. Phyllis Harris says, like hurricane updrafts. Absolutely. Absolutely. As those hurricanes fly through our atmosphere closer to the ground, hurricanes might get 1,000, 2,000 feet high. As those hurricanes develop, they become very strong storms and they go out hundreds of miles, 100, 200 miles in each direction. Huge storms. Huge storms. And those outer bands of the hurricane spin. They spin great big huge thunderstorms on the outer bands. Those outer bands spin into land, and that's where we get thunderstorms and even tornadoes when a hurricane goes through. Don Patoka says thunderstorms can have issues at 50,000 feet. I believe wind shear at 50,000 feet. Don says been there, done that. Not surprising. Not surprising at all. Does anybody have any questions? Cassandra is saying, please give this broadcast a thumbs up. I agree. If you like what we talk about here on this program, please give us a thumbs up. That lets YouTube know that you appreciate what we're doing here. Give us a thumbs up, a big thumbs up. Okay? We'd appreciate that. Okay? Also, please don't just take here and come in here to get our attention and leave. Okay? That's not going to do you any good. It's not going to do you or the program any good. If you're here for only 5 or 10 minutes, it doesn't do anything for you because it doesn't give you any real information at all. Okay? You get information by staying here and listening to the program and watching it. Okay? Most of our information even comes from the middle to the end of the program. Most of the real good earthquake information comes anywhere from maybe the middle to the end of the program. Okay? Yes, we have information in the beginning as well as we do right now. Talking about that aircraft last week that came into Salt Lake City with broken windshield. Okay? But I want to tell you this, I love being with you guys. I love showing you the information. Don Patoka says St. Elmo's fire when lightning hits you. Oh yeah, big time. Big time. Another friend of mine in San Diego was working at the San Diego Wild Animal Park, got hit by lightning out there. Unreal. Totally destroyed their life. Killed them. Killed them. Okay. Let's go talk about earthquakes now. Okay. I'm just going to briefly go around the globe because there's not a whole lot to talk about. Really not a whole lot to talk about at all. Yes, we have some large earthquakes out here. Again, we're going to start over here in southeast Kamchatka Peninsula of Russia, the North Pacific, Northwestern Pacific Ocean. Okay? Why? Because we can. Because we can, and I will. Okay? First, over here at Kamchatka Peninsula, I'm going to zoom in here. Okay? This earthquake right here is a 5.0 earthquake, 40 kilometers deep. 40 kilometers deep. Okay? 5.0 large earthquake. This was 46 miles east of Petropavlovsk, Russia. Further south, this is a 4.7 moderate earthquake. This is 22 miles out, deep. 22 miles deep, 4.7 quake. This earthquake is a 4.3. This is also 6.2 miles deep. Notice the depth difference. The depth difference. This one closer to shore here, the 5.0 large quake closer to shore, and it could do more damage because it was closer to shore, but it was still moderately shallow. Moderately shallow. Okay? These two earthquakes are fairly shallow here. This one's 6.2 miles deep, 10 kilometers deep. This one's also 21.8 kilometers deep, or miles deep. Notice the difference. 6.2 miles, 28. That's huge, coming from different areas along this fault line. Both of these earthquakes are on this fault line coming away from Japan. Okay? When we have earthquakes like this, the seismic energy that's here is going up into the Aleutian Islands here. Going up here in Aleutian Islands. Yesterday, right here near Atka, Alaska, we had another large earthquake, 5.0 here yesterday afternoon. Today, what do we have here? Okay. This one here is a 2.0 earthquake. This other earthquake here is a 2.1. 2.1 earthquake over here in the Baltic Sea. Over in the Baltic Sea. Okay. Not near the volcano, but out in the ocean. The 5.0 hit right about in this area right here, but it hit in the Pacific side, the North Pacific out here, on the Aleutian Island fault zone. Okay, what else is here? Out here, up here, just off of the Alaska Peninsula here, again, on the Pacific Ocean side, This is a 3.8 small earthquake. Out in the ocean, didn't do any damage, did it? 3.8 earthquakes aren't going to do much damage at all. They're just going to shake on land. This one was out in the ocean, and the ocean waters absorbed the shockwaves of this quake. We go over here to the island here, Kodiak Island. This is a small 3.1, but again, it's out in the ocean here. Didn't do anything, nobody felt it. We'll go over here into the Cook Inlet. The Cook Inlet. This is still off in the ocean south of Kodiak Island. This is a 2.5 earthquake. Okay, over here. This is just a little bit different. This earthquake is just south and east of Old Iliamna volcano here. You can see the volcano here, just west of here. This is just a 2.1 minor earthquake. Right here in this harbor area, this is a 1.3 tremor. Over here on the southwest side of Old Iliamna volcano here, this is a 1.4 tremor. Over here northwest of there, right up here, this is a 1.7 near Salmon, Alaska, King Salmon, Alaska. Closer to Old Iliamna volcano here, this is 1.2 tremor. Okay, let's go up further up here in the Cook Inlet here. This is a 1.7 tremor. We go north here to the volcano again. This is Pedro Bay. This is further south from Mount Redoubt to the north. Mount Redoubt volcano is right up in here. Mount Redoubt volcano. These next earthquakes are just south of Mount Redoubt, but they're in the foothills of Mount Redoubt. This is a 0.2 microquake. This is a minus 0.3, they say. They say minus zero numbers are above sea level. Again, USGS cannot even think about what they're doing here. This is minus numbers, but it's over 3 miles deep. 3.2 miles deep, and they're saying this is a minus 0.3. It's not. Okay? USGS is full of crap. Again. Further over here to the east, almost right next to the Cook Inlet here, is a 2.5 earthquake, minor earthquake here near Ninishek, Alaska. This is 54.5 miles deep. Over here in the Cook Inlet here, this is a 1.8 tremor. Further north here, in the peninsula area here, this is a 2.0 earthquake near Ridgway, Alaska. Right here to the north, this just happened. Brand new earthquake, 2.0 earthquake here. 30 miles deep. Okay? You see Anchorage, Alaska here. Let's go north and see this earthquake here, northwest of Anchorage. This is 4 miles south of Big Lake, Alaska, a 2.2 earthquake. Okay, now I saw this 2.2 here several hours ago. Then it was brand new. We go further north and east here. This is Glacier View, Alaska, 2.8 earthquake. Go over here just northwest of Valdez, Alaska. We talked about Valdez, Alaska because we had an earthquake here yesterday. This is another 2.0 earthquake here. This is 25 miles northwest of Valdez, Alaska. Let's go up here to Denali National Park. Okay, this earthquake on the eastern outskirts of Denali here is a 1.8 tremor. 1.8 tremor. Right here. Look at that, guys. Right here. 1.8 tremor. Going further north here into Denali. This is a 1.6 tremor here. Okay, this is 54 miles deep. Right here's a 1.8 tremor. Up here to the northwest side of Denali here, this is a 1.7 tremor. Over here to the west here, south and west, is a 1.3. This is on the northwestern side of Denali National Park. Guess what USGS has? USGS says this is, you can't get this right. They can't get it right. USGS is saying this is northeast of Denali. You see, it's on the west side of Denali National Park. This is nowhere near north and nowhere near northeast. Incredible. This is north of Denali National Park, but it's west. It's on the west side. We go further north here. This is a 2.1 minor earthquake here. 33 miles west of Denali here. But USGS is saying this is east of Denali as well. It's not. What's east and west here? What is east and west? Okay. Right here. This is a 1.8. Go up here further north. This is a 2.6 near Harding Birch Lakes. 2.6 earthquake, 2.2 miles deep here. We go further out here to the west, 26 miles west of 4 Mile Road. It's 1.6 tremor. This is a 1.5 tremor near Minto, Alaska. Minto, Alaska. Now I'm going to go up here to the north, way north. This is up here at, guess what? This is in the Arctic Circle, northernmost part of the Arctic Circle here in Alaska. This is Katavik, Alaska. This is Katavik, Alaska. This is a 2.6 minor earthquake. Now, one of the reasons I talk about this earthquake here near Katavik, okay? We go back to 2019. What happened in Ridgecrest in 2019? We're talking Ridgecrest, California. July 4th, 2019. We had a 7.1 earthquake that now scientists are saying may be closer to an 8.0 in Ridgecrest. Okay? 3 days prior to that, we had a large 5.0 right here. So ever since that day, I'm looking at Katavik, Alaska. If we have another 5.0 here near Katavik, Alaska, here near the North Shore of Alaska, in the Alaska oil pumping region, I'm definitely going to be looking for an earthquake in Southern California. Now, I don't know whether it's related or not, but that's in my mind. That is embedded fact in my mind here. Okay? That's just to give you a little history here. So we have one earthquake up here in the Arctic Circle here today. Okay? Let's go further south here. Japan. Good old Japan. Off the northeast coast of Japan, this is a 4.4 moderate earthquake here. It's the only earthquake that USGS is showing here in Japan. There may be more. Let's go south. Right here. Again, this is in the central Philippines. Out in the Celebes Ocean, in the Celebes Sea. This is a 4.5 earthquake here. 347 miles deep. 347 miles deep. For kicks and giggles, let's go over here and look at the kilometer distance here. I just changed this to kilometers here for kicks and giggles. Guess what? This is a deep earthquake. This is a deep 559 kilometer deep earthquake. Unreal, huh? Absolutely is. Now let me show you something else here. I'm going over here to the depth to magnitude conversion chart. This earthquake is 559 kilometers deep. 559 kilometers deep. Go over to the second column from the left. Go over to 560. This shows that we have to make a 1.17, 1.12 addition to this earthquake. That's a conversion. That's a conversion right here. Let's go back to the USGS map here. 559 kilometers deep. We're going to add a 1.2 to this earthquake. This 4.5 earthquake is going to propagate a 5.7 large earthquake here within the next 3 to 10 days. Within the next 3 to 10 days here in the Philippine area. This 4.5 is going to propagate a 5.7 very large earthquake within the next 3 to 10 days. Let's look at it. Let's look at it again. Now, USGS is only showing 2 earthquakes in Indonesia. There are 26 earthquakes in Indonesia today. They're showing 2. We're showing only 1 earthquake here in the Debis Sea near or south of Mindanao, Philippines. Okay? There's more than that. There are a lot more earthquakes here, but they're not showing them. They never do. Rarely ever do they ever show all the earthquakes in this region. There are 7 different tectonic plates here moving. One tectonic plate moving underneath the other. It's called subduction. This is the largest subduction area in the world. Largest subduction area in the world. One plate subducting under the other just like this. One plate subducting under the other just like this. That's why we have so many earthquakes in this region. 7 different tectonic plates are subducting here. 7 plates. Okay? From Japan south over here to Indonesia, also including Australia. Also including Papua Indonesia and Papua New Guinea. Okay? This earthquake over here in eastern Java here, this is a 4.8 earthquake, 514 kilometers deep. Let's go back here to the depth to magnitude conversion chart. 514 kilometers deep here. Go back to 515. That's close enough. We see we have to add a 1.04 to this earthquake here. So let's do that. 1.04 to this earthquake here. Okay, this being a 4.8, we add a 1.02 to this quake. Instantly, guys, this becomes a 6.0 earthquake. This is a 4.8. We add a 1.02 to this. Instantly, we have a 6.0 earthquake. Okay, 5.8, 6.0 earthquake. That's what's going to happen here in Indonesia within the next 3 to 10 days. 5.8 to a 6.0 earthquake here in the next 3 to 10 days as a result of this earthquake right here. We don't usually get deep earthquakes here, but when we do, it's amazing. Let's see what happens within the next 3 to 10 days here. Okay. Over here in southern Sumatra, this is the only other earthquake here in Indonesia today. This earthquake is a 4.7. This is 166 kilometers deep, a pretty much shallow earthquake here. A 4.7 moderate earthquake here. This did some minor damage here, moderate damage here in Indonesia today. 4.756 kilometers deep, pretty shallow. People felt this earthquake. People felt this earthquake here. Okay. Papua New Guinea. I almost hate showing earthquakes here because usually when we show earthquake, I know something happened here. Something big happened here to the people here in Papua New Guinea. Again, this is 116 kilometers south of Kokopo, Papua New Guinea. Let's zoom in here. I want to show you where this earthquake is. It's just barely offshore. Just barely offshore. The only thing fortunate about this quake, is that I don't believe anyone is even near the shoreline here. I don't believe there's anyone near the shoreline here. I don't think there's any cities or towns here. Well, by the way, guess what? There is. Somebody felt this quake. Large 5.0 quake offshore. They said this was 116 kilometers south of Kokopo. This is not Kokopo. Kokopo is further up to the north here. Kokopo is up here. There are people down here that felt this quake. Sad but true. I wish, but to high heaven, that USGS would start actually showing the nearest town or city from the earthquake. They don't do this. It really ticks me off. It really fries my butt. Some people got affected by this earthquake. And people here in Papua New Guinea, they don't have much of anything. They don't have much of anything. Their houses are made of wood or even mud or cardboard. That's what they live in. When a typhoon or cyclone goes through here, their homes are destroyed. People die. When earthquakes strike this region, even though this was offshore, it still got hit with some kind of seismic energy. Pretty close to shore. Sad. Look where this earthquake is. Right on the edge of this plate here. There's one edge here, and there's another edge further to the south right here. Two different fault zones. It's no small wonder that there are 7 different tectonic plates in this region. Further south over here. This is in the Kermadec Islands north of New Zealand. This is a 5.1 earthquake. Again, I tell people when we have earthquakes here in the Kermadec Islands, these are bird sanctuary. There's no homes built on the Kermadec Islands at all. It's a bird sanctuary, seabirds. Yes, they feel these earthquakes, but there's nothing much they can do about it. But the sad thing is, there are other earthquakes here. There are other earthquakes here. Let me show you something. Unreal. This is actually a 5.23 earthquake. This is actually a 5.23 earthquake here in the Kermadec Islands. USGS shows it as a 1.2 or 5.2. Or I'm sorry, 5.1. They're showing a 5.1. This is a 5.23 earthquake. Okay? Watch this. USGS shows no earthquakes at all in New Zealand. Look at all these earthquakes. Most of these are 2.0, 2.9, and an occasional 3.1, 3.4 earthquake here. This area around New Zealand is peppered with earthquakes. Literally peppered with earthquakes. As I showed you yesterday afternoon, over here off the eastern shore of the North Island, they are saying they are expecting an 8.0 earthquake to hit here on the eastern shore of New Zealand sometime within the next 25 years. An 8.0 major earthquake, could be larger. Again, this is part of the subduction zone. This is part of the subduction zone where one plate, in this case, the Pacific plate, pushing up underneath, subducting underneath the Indo-Australian plate, just like this. That's why this is happening. Yes, we have earthquakes there, but USGS is not even acknowledging it at all. Fortunately, all of these earthquakes are minor to small earthquakes. No big deal. No big deal. Now, I don't show any earthquakes at all in Australia. No earthquakes today in Australia. That's a good thing. USGS never shows earthquakes in Australia, almost never. They showed one here yesterday. There were actually two. Unreal. South America. Good old South America. There are 28 earthquakes here in South America. 28 earthquakes in South America, they show two. Down here in central Chile, there are 18 earthquakes here. They show a 5.0 earthquake right here. A 5.0 earthquake here in the, excuse me, had something in my eye. This 5.0 earthquake is in the top of the Andes Mountains here. This is also 122 kilometers deep. Okay? Shell earthquake. One earthquake up north. Let's take a look at it real quick. Then I will show you the other earthquakes in South America. This is a 4.7 earthquake here. Okay? This is a 4.7. This is 40 kilometers east-southeast of Uchiza, Peru. Uchiza, Peru. UCHIZA, Peru. This is 10 kilometers deep, 6.2 miles deep. Would you like to see all the other earthquakes here in South America? Look at that. Look at all these earthquakes in South America. USGS doesn't even come close to talking about all these earthquakes. Not even close. Not even close, not at all. These earthquakes are anywhere from 3.5 on up to 4.5 in depth or in magnitude. 3.5 to 4.5 in magnitude of these earthquakes. All of these earthquakes. Incredible. Look what's happening here in Central America and Southern Mexico. Unreal. Unreal. USGS shows nothing. Not a single thing. I want to go into Southern Mexico here. There happens to be a volcano here. happens to be a volcano here. Guess what? Look at all these earthquakes around the volcano. What we know about the volcanoes when we have this many earthquakes. This volcano is preparing to erupt. This volcano is preparing to erupt, guys. USGS shows nothing. Nothing. They never have. They never have. This is a sad day. There's going to be a volcanic eruption, and they're not even talking about it. Now, yes, these earthquakes are 2.4, 2.8, 2.7, 2.2. Let me see if I can bring up this 10 plus earthquake here. 10 plus earthquake circle here. I did. I broke it up. Here we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 earthquakes here. 14 earthquakes. 2.3. 2.3. 2.3. 2.3. 2.4. 2.4. 2.0. 2.4. 2.4. These are all Tues, guys. These are all minor earthquakes, all around that volcano. Yesterday here we had 3.4, 3.6 here. So things have calmed down a little bit around this volcano, but not that much. Not that much, guys. USGS not even talking about it. Oh, nothing's happening. Nothing's going to happen. Interesting to know. Interesting to know. 20 plus earthquakes there, they're not showing any at all. Around this area, from southern Mexico, 3.8. Another 3.8 right there. They range in size from 3.2 to 4.5 earthquakes here in southern Mexico. Look at all these earthquakes. From 3s to 4.5 earthquakes here. They go up here just south of Puerto Vallarta. Just south of Puerto Vallarta. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 35, 58 earthquakes here. 58 earthquakes here in in southern Mexico. 58 earthquakes here. USGS doesn't show one of them. We showed you this kind of activity before. This is insane. This is totally insane. Up here in the Cascades subduction zone, we'll talk about this tomorrow. Over in Canada here, this is part of the Puget Sound area. North Sanche, Canada, 3.0 earthquake here. 3.0 earthquake. In the Olympic Peninsula over here on the western shore here, 1.6 tremor here near Forks, Washington. Go over here towards Seattle, just east of Seattle here. 1.5 tremor near Wilburton, Washington. Fascinating. Fascinating. right here. Capucin, Washington, 1.3 tremor. Nothing to talk about Mount Rainier. Really? They're not talking about Mount Rainier at all. There are earthquakes here, guaranteed, every day. Mount St. Helens, they're finally talking about earthquakes here. They're showing 3 here. Over here, this in the center of the summit, minus 0.4 microquake. Really? That's all they want to talk about is microquakes here at Mount St. Helens and Mount Rainier. Today, they're not saying anything about Mount Rainier. There are hundreds of minor microquakes here at Mount St. Helens. They show 3. This is a minus number, meaning it's above sea level. Really? This happens to be nearly 2 miles deep. 1.8 kilometers deep, nearly 2 miles deep here. 0.4 tremor, microquake. They have this as a surface quake, a 0.0 surface quake. Really? This is 2.3 kilometers deep, just over a mile deep. Okay, it's not a surface quake at all. This is supposedly a 0.3 microquake. It appears this is near the rim of the volcano, right? No, it's not. This is 1.7 miles deep. 1.7 miles deep. Okay? They lie, they lie, they lie. Okay? They're not showing any other earthquakes here in Oregon. That's a lie as well. Down here in the southern part of the Cascadia subduction zone, the subduction zone region, on the San Andreas Fault, folks, this is where the San Andreas Fault starts. This happens to be a 2.7 minor earthquake here, just off the coast of Petrolia, California. 2.7 minor earthquake. The San Andreas Fault starts up here, what they call the Triple Junction. Meets up with the Cascadia subduction zone going north, and the Gorda Escarpment going out to the west. That's why they call it the Triple Junction, where all 3 earthquake faults meet. San Andreas Fault starts here. Let's go south. Let's go down here to San Francisco. On the San Andreas Fault right here. Just off the western coast of San Francisco. Just west of the entrance to San Francisco Bay. On the San Andreas. Guess what? 1.6 tremor here. 4 miles northwest of the San Francisco Zoo. On the San Andreas Fault. This happens quite often. Over here in the San Francisco Bay Area right here. It's at a quarry. Fancy having a quarry right here at the San Francisco Bay here. A quarry blast here. USGS has this as a 1.6 tremor here in Venetia, California. At a quarry. At a quarry on the bay. Fascinating. Really fascinating. Let's go up here to the north side of San Francisco Bay, northeast side of San Francisco Bay. This is a 2.1 earthquake near Vallejo, California. How about that? 2.1 earthquake here. Berkeley, California, guys. This earthquake was brand new a few hours ago. This is a 2.2 earthquake here in Berkeley, California, on the Hayward Fault. Hayward Fault. This is a 0.8 microquake also on the Hayward. We're getting to see a lot of earthquakes here in the Berkeley area at the Hayward. Look out, San Francisco. You are getting to be a huge earthquake problem here. There's getting to be a huge earthquake problem here. Watch. Watch and pray here, guys. All I can say is look out. Up here in the northeast side of San Francisco Bay, Vallejo, California, was 2.1 earthquake. This is on the Calaveras Fault. The northern side of the Calaveras Fault here. The Calaveras Fault goes south, parallel to the Hayward. Both faults go south here. This earthquake near Milpitas is a 1.2 tremor on the Calaveras. Just west of the Calaveras right here is where Milpitas is. But that 1.2 is on the Calaveras just to the east. Two huge fault zones here. Two very dangerous fault zones here. Okay? But they even get more dangerous as they go south. Because out here you see the Calaveras Fault here. You see the Hayward Fault right here where we have this earthquake near Hollister, California. A 1.2 tremor on the Hayward Fault here in Hollister, California. Okay? 10.5 kilometers deep. This one out here on the Calaveras, Los Banos, California, it's a 1.8 tremor here. Okay? It's also 0.3 kilometers deep. That is right directly on the fault. Over here. Over here. What's here, guys? The San Andreas Fault. The San Andreas Fault. All three faults come right near each other. They don't converge, but they come very close to each other right here. This is one of the most dangerous fault zones in the world. Where all three faults come together, it's one of the most dangerous areas to be. Yes, this is a 2.0 earthquake at Tres Pinos, California. Tres Pinos, California. That's not the only earthquake to happen here. This earthquake is a 1.8 tremor here. So we have a 2.0 and a 1.8 tremor here. 1.5 kilometers deep. The San Andreas continues south here to Parkfield, California. Parkfield, California is the earthquake capital of the world. Earthquake capital of the world. More earthquakes happen here in Parkfield than anywhere else in the world. 1.0 tremor here in Parkfield today. Also, it's 2 miles deep on the San Andreas. Go south. You don't see any more earthquakes here, but there are. There's just not talking about it. Out here. Okay? This is out off the coast of El Segundo, California. El Segundo. This is a 1.8 tremor here. Why? Why? Guys, guess what? The Newport Inglewood Fault is right here. The Newport Inglewood Fault is right here. It goes out here into the Los Angeles Bay. It goes out here in the bay. This earthquake here is on the bay, on the fault. The Newport Inglewood and the Rose Canyon Fault going to San Diego. The Rose Canyon Fault is here off the coast of Los Angeles, and we have an earthquake here at 1.8 tremor. Rose Canyon Fault. Rose Canyon Fault continues over here until it reaches Encinitas, California here. This is Oceanside, there's Carlsbad, there's Encinitas, California right there. That's where the Rose Canyon Fault goes inland here. It only goes a little bit inland here, follows Interstate 5. The Rose Canyon Fault follows Interstate 5 south here. Follows 5 south out here into San Diego Harbor. Goes down through San Diego downtown city here, goes out into San Diego Harbor right here. The Rose Canyon Fault. San Diego is expecting a 7.6 earthquake here on the Rose Canyon. More reasonably, it could be a 6.5, but they're expecting upwards of a 7.6 earthquake here on the Rose Canyon within the next 5 to 10 years. Fancy that. Fancy that. Back in 2010, April 3rd, 2010, over here on the Mexican border here, near Imperial Valley here, right here. Okay, right here. The border here. April 3rd, 2010. We had a 7.1 earthquake here in the area, the province of Guadalupe, Victoria, Mexico, the southern side of the border. They said it was a 7.1 earthquake, and now they're saying it was even larger than that. That 7.1 earthquake created a lot of damage in Mexicali on the south side of the border. More damage in Calexico on the north side of the border here. It rocked the Imperial Valley here. It completely rocked the Imperial Valley all over here. The Salton Sea, the entire Imperial Valley. Earthquake was felt all the way out into Arizona out here. That 7.1 earthquake was felt all the way up in Los Angeles. It was felt all the way up here in northern Los Angeles. The San Andreas Fault out here to the east, right here. Right here. We are expecting at least a 7.0 to an 8.0 earthquake happen here almost any day. Literally almost any day. The seismic energy is locked and loaded here. Locked and loaded. Every time we have an earthquake here, it's just more seismic energy here. The minor tremors and earthquakes that happen here are not relieving the pressure here. They are not relieving the pressure at all. What I'm going to show you here are earthquakes in Los Angeles, the San Diego, and the Imperial Valley region. Over 400 earthquakes a day here in Los Angeles. 400 earthquakes hit here in Los Angeles every day. 500 more earthquakes hit here in the Imperial Valley. Fact. Fact. I'm about to show you earthquakes all over Los Angeles. Some of them decent sized. See this earthquake over here near Ontario, California? It's actually in Fontana. Fontana, California, guys. USGS is showing a 0.8 microquake. What I'm going to show you in just a few minutes is a lot stronger than a 0.8 microquake. There are hundreds of microquakes out here. There are hundreds of microquakes every day out here in Fontana and this whole area. I'm going to show you 3.0 earthquakes here in Fontana today. 3.0 small earthquakes here. It's just not microquakes here, as USGS and Caltech want to tell you. A lot more earthquakes than that. Stronger earthquakes than that. Over here near Riverside, east of Riverside. This is the Redlands. It's a 1.0 tremor. Fascinating. Further out here to the east is also another 1.0 over here in a resort area called Calamasa, California. 1.0 tremor. This is 9.7 kilometers deep. Over 4 miles deep here. Earthquake over here near Corona. Fascinating. Home Gardens, California. Earthquakes here every day. We are showing a 1.2 tremor here. 1.2 tremor out here near Home Gardens. This is in a mountainous area. This particular earthquake is in a quarry. This is a quarry blast. USGS is calling this a 1.2 tremor. It's a quarry blast in a quarry. Usually when they see earthquakes here in a quarry, they call them a quarry blast. It's not showing that. They're showing a tremor here. 1.2 tremor here in Home Gardens, California. It's actually in a quarry. Okay. Earthquakes all over this area. Literally all over this area. East of Oceanside, Palomar Observatory. This is a 0.8 microquake near Palomar. This is also a 1.0 tremor on the east side of Palomar Mountain. Tremor. Further south here, this is in Mexico, south side of the border. This is 50 kilometers, approximately 25 miles northeast of Ensenada, Mexico. 1.6 tremor. Before I show you the rest of Southern California, I'd be missing quite a bit of information if I didn't show you this. Guess what? This happens to be an important place. This is a 3.5 earthquake here. 3.5 earthquake here in the center of Baja, California. On the mountain ridge. A major highway runs from Southern California all the way down here to Baja, California. They have a road race here every year. I've been here. This earthquake here is even more important. It's also in Mexico on the San Andreas Fault. Right here. Why is this important? Number one, there happens to be a volcano here. The Cerro Prieto volcano is right here. The people here in Mexico have gone into the upper magma chambers of the Cerro Prieto volcano to obtain steam to power turbines over here. Turbines over here to the west, turbines over here to the southeast. Guess what? This is a 2.2 earthquake on the San Andreas Fault. Just east of those turbines here. Just east of the turbines here. South of the volcano. 2.2 earthquake. Okay. just so you know. Okay, let's leave the USGS map. I'm going to take down the depth of magnitude convergence chart. Let's show you what is actually happening here in Southern California. Off the coast in the Channel Islands here. The Channel Islands here, guys, right here. Seismograph. There happens to be a seismograph over here on Channel Island, detailing all the seismic activity here on the island. We've had 3.0 earthquakes here in the past. This, of course, is not a 3.0 earthquake, but these are tremors and minor earthquakes here. There are tremors and minor earthquakes here. Channel Island is out here in Los Angeles Harbor, just outside the harbor area. You can take several day boats to come out here and drop tourists off and bring them back. Sometimes we have even 3.0 small earthquakes here. The reason I'm showing you this is because Channel Island is active. It's active, guys. You need to believe that. We need to respect it, because this is not going to be the only time we see this happen. Channel Island is active out here. We have earthquakes. Let's go out to the desert. Bakersfield, California. California State University, Bakersfield is where this seismograph is. Here we have tremors here. Lots and lots of tremors. Now, when this seismograph was first made last night, the top line here is 5 p.m. last night. Like all the other seismographs all around the nation, USGS and Caltech seismologists turn the seismograph down once it gets past 9 or 10 o'clock. That way it doesn't register earthquakes, because heaven forbid they would have to account for any earthquakes happen when they're not in the building. We see tremors here. Then all of a sudden the tremors completely disappear. Even after 4:30 this morning over on the right-hand side, which is actually 4:44. That's just 1.0, 1.1 tremors here. There's more tremors here than anywhere else during the nighttime. That's because they turn the machines down. This is typical of what we see here. This is very typical. They turn the machines down so they don't have to answer questions. Okay? There's more. Let's go south of Los Angeles on the east side of LA, over towards the San Bernardino Mountains. Cabazon, California. Cabazon, California just happens to be on the San Andreas Fault. Look at the tremor activity here. These are only tremors here, but it is increasing tremors throughout the day. Look at that. All kinds of tremor activity today. The San Andreas Fault is moving. Lancaster, California. Right here. This is less activity than we had last week, but I need to show you this. We still have tremor activity here. We have microquakes and we have 1.0 tremors here. Lancaster, California, Fox Airport. Okay. Let's go further south into Rancho Mirage, California on the San Andreas. Look at this. This shows additional tremor activity here. The tremor activity here on the southern part of the San Andreas Fault is getting larger. The tremor activity here on the southern part of the San Andreas Fault is getting larger. It's increasing. Okay. Now, let's go into Los Angeles. Baldwin Hills. Baldwin Hills here is an oil refinery, pumping oil and gas out of the earth here, in the crust of the earth. Oil and gas pumping operation here. Yes, we have tremors. Last week we saw even more tremors than this. They have turned down the seismic up here at Baldwin Hills. I got told that by a seismologist that refuses to be named, an anonymous source from the USGS and Caltech. They turned down the seismic at Baldwin Hills. Fascinating. It really is fascinating. It's not the only time. This happens all the time. Let's go over to East Los Angeles, over Mira Loma Linda. Look at this. Lots of tremors here. Tons of tremors here in Loma Linda area. This happens to be just east of, I'm not saying east, this just happens to be west of the San Andreas. Just west of the San Jacinto Fault. Lots and lots of tremors here. Lots and lots of tremors. Over here in the center on the red line here, okay? This is just after 8:15 this morning. About 8:11 this morning. Actually, I'm sorry, 8:21 this morning on the red line here. That is a 1.7, 1.8 tremor here. Tremors are happening all over the place here. Mira Loma, California. We've had 3.0 earthquakes here before. They're coming back. They're coming back. Now, I want to show you Del Amo, just north of Los Angeles. Look at this. Look at this. 3.0 earthquakes back to back to back to back, all day long. Earthquakes shaking all day long just north of Los Angeles. Del Amo, California. Unreal. It didn't used to be this way. We used to have just tremors. Tremors and minor 2.0, 2.1 earthquakes. It's graduated from minor earthquakes all the way up to 3.0s all day long. The ground is shaking here, guys. The ground here north of Los Angeles is shaking. We've gone from 43 people watching this program down to 37. Apparently people don't care. Or YouTube doesn't care what's going on here in Los Angeles. Seismic activity is ramped up here in Los Angeles, guys. Seismic activity is ramped up here in Los Angeles. You folks that are watching my program here in Los Angeles, look out. A large earthquake is going to hit here very soon. Cathay Payan says there's been 80,000 earthquakes in one day in Yellowstone. Wrong. That is BS with a capital B and capital S. There might have been 15 or 20 microquakes. 15 or 20 microquakes and maybe 5 or 10 minor tremors. That's all that's hit in Yellowstone. If you read that there were 80,000 quakes, they are lying through their teeth. 80,000 earthquakes in maybe 2 years time period, maybe. That didn't happen. That did not happen. Yes, we have earthquakes getting bigger up in Lassen National Park. Lassen's volcano. Yellowstone's a super volcano, but that is false information. That is completely false information, guys. They did not shut down Yellowstone at all. I can verify that. Yellowstone is not shut down at all. Period. I want to make that perfectly clear. They have not shut down Yellowstone National Park at all. Not at all. That's false information. Hasn't happened. But here in Los Angeles, look what's happening. The ground is moving here. It's moving a lot. And this is not the only place. Let's go over to Ellis, California now. Look at this. This morning, let's look at this. The top line here on the bottom, the top left-hand corner is 5 a.m. Just after 6:46 this morning, 2.4, 2.5 earthquake. 6:57, I should say 6:47. 6:47, we had multiple 3.0 earthquakes here back to back. Multiple 3.0 small earthquakes back to back here. Ellis, California. We've also had numerous minor earthquakes, 2.0, 2.5 earthquakes here in Ellis, California. Again, seismic activity is wrapping up here in Los Angeles. No doubt. No doubt. Let's go on here. Let's go out to Fontana, just west of the San Andreas Fault. Fontana. Look at the earthquakes in terms here. We've had minor earthquakes and we have 3.0 earthquakes here in Fontana. After 7:33 this morning, 3.0 earthquake. We had another at, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just after 8:05 this morning, another 3.0 earthquake. We had another 3.0 earthquake this afternoon. The earthquake's here on the bottom blue line. This would be 12:41 p.m. this afternoon. 12:41 p.m. we had a 3.0 earthquake here. Up here on the top, not the top, but the center right-hand side on the blue line. Okay, this is after 7:44 here. 7:44 this morning, we had a 3.0 earthquake. Over here, just after that, 8:06, 3.0 earthquake here, 8:06 this morning. Fontana, California is moving, guys. We're only showing maybe 3 or 4 small earthquakes here. We also have innumerable minor earthquakes, 2.0, 2.9. A lot of them. You can see them all over this diagram. Los Angeles is moving. Lots and lots of earthquakes. Tell your friends, come look at this. This is important. Los Angeles is moving, guys. This is in preparation for a major earthquake. Let's go down to the southern coastline of Los Angeles over Laguna Niguel. Look at the terms here. This is somewhat normal, but I believe the seismic activity here at Laguna is elevated. These are larger tremors here. I believe these are larger tremors than we normally see here at Laguna, California. Okay, let's keep going here. Let's go over to Long Beach. Good old Long Beach. Look at this. This is normal. This is light hype in Long Beach. Yes, we have tremors here. We have 2.0 earthquakes here. We also have 3.0 earthquakes here in Long Beach. Several of them today. But most of these earthquakes are tremors and minor earthquakes, 2.0, 2.9. All throughout the day here in Long Beach. Okay, let's keep going. Moore Park, also north of Los Angeles. Look at earthquakes here. I believe the earthquakes here are anywhere from tremors to 2.0 to 2.8 earthquakes. Tremors from tremors 1.0, 1.9, all the way up to 2.0, maybe 2.5, 2.8 earthquakes here. Minor earthquakes. Now, there is one earthquake that is suspect here. Just before 7:08 this morning, on the black line here in the center, near the top. That might be a 3.0 earthquake. That might be a 3.0 earthquake. Up at the top left, this was 5:17 this morning. 2.7, 2.8 earthquake there. Later after 7 o'clock to here, so almost 7:08, 3.0 earthquake. Moore Park, California. That is a suburb of Los Angeles to the north of LA. Moore Park, California. Not just there, but Pardee, California as well. Look at this. Yes, there are tremors here. We have some minor earthquakes here as well. We don't have any 3.0s, but we don't have any 3.0 small quakes and above, but these are all minor quakes and tremors here. Minor quakes and tremors here in Pardee, California. Now I want to keep going here. I want to go over the north coast of LA, over to Playa del Rey, Marina del Rey area. This normal for this place. Playa del Rey and Marina del Rey always have tremors here, and that's all we're seeing here. There are no microquakes here. These are 1.0, 1.2 tremors here. Playa del Rey, Marina del Rey here. Okay. Rancho Palos Verdes. We've talked a lot about Rancho Palos Verdes estates here. We've had fires there. We've had landslides. We've had earthquakes. Yes, here we have seen microquakes. We're seeing tremors. We're also seeing a 2.7 earthquake. 2.7 earthquake here in the center on the red line. That is right after 10:22 this morning. 10:22 this morning, there's a 2.7 earthquake there. Earthquakes all over Los Angeles, right? Yeah, there is. Rancho Palos Verdes. Okay. Also north of Los Angeles is a town called Rio Hondo. I spent some time in Rio Hondo myself. Look at this. This is just west. This is just west of Walnut La Puente. Yes, we are seeing some tremors here. We're also seeing some minor earthquakes. But look at these moving lines here. These wavy lines. These wavy lines are caused by magma, guys. These wavy lines are caused by magma. Magma headed over to Walnut La Puente. That's where we have a volcano. We have tremors and minor earthquakes here because we have magma down beneath the surface and it's not that far deep. Okay, well, just 40 just a minute ago, now it's 34 people watching. What a joke. People leaving this program when we're showing you major activity in Los Angeles. Yes, major seismic activity in Los Angeles. Tremors, minor earthquakes, and full-blown 3.0 large earthquakes here in Los Angeles today. Fascinating. We're showing magma headed towards a volcano and nobody wants to see it. 32 people watching now. What are we going to do? Drop down to 0 people watching? Does anybody even care about what we're doing here on this program? We used to have 300-400 people watching. Yes, I understand YouTube has cut our values down here greatly. They're hardly telling anybody that we're here. I get that. But 32, 34 people watching our program when we're showing this kind of activity here in Los Angeles, I'm surprised. I'm surprised. I'm flabbergasted. Before we go over Walnut La Puente, let's go over here to Anaheim, California. Look at this. This is getting to be normal here in Anaheim. This is State Street. This is a State Street seismogram. Look what we have here. Okay. The top line here on the top is a black line, 5 a.m. in the morning on the left-hand side. What happened this morning just after 5:30? 2.5, 2.6 earthquake. What happened after that? 5:34 on the blue line, 3.0 earthquake. On the black line after 6 a.m. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just 5 minutes after 6, another 3.0 earthquake. 2.5 minutes later, another 3.0 earthquake. You see 3.0 earthquakes happen all over this seismogram all day long. All day long, 3.0 small earthquakes. Anaheim, California. Over on the bottom left on the green line here, this just happened to be just after 12:45, just before 12:46 this afternoon. Another 3.6 earthquake. I will bet you my bottom dollar that USGS did not talk about this. They don't show it on the seismic map at all. On the USGS map, they're not showing this. I will bet you that Disneyland had to close down the rides several times to make sure the tracks are safe for the roller coasters. Anything 3.0 and larger, they have to shut the roller coasters down to check the rail lines to make sure no cars are going to come off. Small earthquakes, guys, small earthquakes. You can feel these small quakes beneath your feet moving. Not big enough to do real damage, but movement. We have multiple 3.0 earthquakes here in Anaheim at Disneyland, and that's very far. Today, 34 people still watching. I'm not done. I'm not done. Let's go out to the volcano east of Los Angeles called Walnut La Puente. Look at this. Yes, we're having 3.0, 3.5, 4.0 earthquakes here in Walnut La Puente. Fact. The top and the bottom of these quake sequences have been cut off by the agency. That way we don't know the exact magnitude of these earthquakes. But these earthquakes by themselves are at least 3.03.3. 3.03.3 earthquakes here at Walnut La Puente all day long. They're still happening. The top one on this black line here happened about 6 minutes after 5 a.m. this morning. 5:06. 3.03.3 earthquake here. Multiple earthquakes back to back. The seismic energy of this first 3.0 earthquake happened just after 5:06 this morning, and there were multiple of them, maybe 3 seconds long. 3-second long earthquake. Then over the right, 5:44 a.m. this morning. 5:44 a.m. this morning. Multiple threes here at least. 3.5, 4.0 earthquake here. 5:44 this morning. They continued all day long. I'm sorry, that was 5 last night, 5:44 last night. Here in the center here, on the blue line. That's after 9 p.m. last night. Approximately 9:36 last night. 9:36 p.m. we have another 3.5, 4.0 earthquake here. They cut off the bottom and the top of the quake sequence so we can't see how strong it actually was. They keep doing it. 1 o'clock this morning on the left black line. 1 o'clock this morning on the black line here. The seismic energy was just tremors before that. Okay, 12:55 this morning. 12:59, tremors. All of a sudden at 1 a.m., we have 3.03.5 earthquake at least. At least. This earthquake sequence lasted a full 2 minutes. Full 2 minutes. The secondary wave lasted about 60 seconds. This earthquake after 9:36 last night, it lasted 1, 2, 3, 4 minutes long. 4-minute long earthquake. Possibly as strong as a 4.0 earthquake. That is some kind of energy here at Walnut La Puente. The two cities of Walnut La Puente are built on the top of the volcano. That's what's happening here. This area is shaking like nothing else. That's why it's shaking. Okay? Let's keep on going here. Now, let's go to San Diego first, then we'll go out to the Imperial Valley to the east. This is San Diego City. This diagram is located at the SDG building in San Diego City, just north of San Diego City in a place called Mission Valley, San Diego. Look at the microquakes and look at the tremors and also look at the minor earthquakes here. The Rose Canyon Fault is causing this earthquake activity. Look at that. The top black line here this morning. The top black line here, guys, is a 2.8 earthquake. 2.8 minor earthquake here this morning. 5:05 a.m. Yes, you see a lot of tremors here as well. What's down here this afternoon? What is down here this afternoon here? It shows 1600 on the bottom left-hand side. That's 4 p.m. 4:15 after that on the red line. 4:20 p.m. out here with a minor 2.0 earthquake. We have some tremors. We have a 2.0 earthquake. And earlier this morning, a bigger earthquake than that right there. 2.7, 2.8 earthquake there. San Diego City, guys. Rose Canyon Fault coming out of Los Angeles. There's more. Let's go down to the border, guys. This is just north of the border at Campo Elementary School, Campo, California. Just about 7 miles north of the border, Campo, California. Look what's going on here. These are just tremors here. These are just tremors, guys. We might have one minor earthquake here at all, a 2.7 earthquake. That 2.7 was after 7:55 this afternoon, or 7:40 this afternoon. 7:40 this morning on the blue line. 7:40 this morning on the blue line. Minor earthquake. All the rest of this activity is all tremors here. San Diego County is moving. San Diego County is moving. I showed you tremors earlier on the USGS map at Palomar Mountain, North San Diego County. Borrego Springs and Julian. Anza-Borrego Desert State Park. All of San Diego County is moving here. Julian, California is also moving. Tremors in Julian, California as well. Now, let's take another step here. Let's go east in the Imperial Valley. Okay? First stop, guess what? Southeast Salton Sea, Calipatria, California. I've shown you this diagram before. Calipatria, guys, is a big area here. 75 to 150 earthquakes here a day. Southeast side of the Salton Sea. Look at the earthquakes here. Yes, we have 2.0s. We have 2.5 minor earthquakes. And guess what? Let's look here on the blue line here. Over here on the right-hand side. Okay? This was at about 9:56. Is that right? At 9:56 this morning, or last night. 9:56 last night. This earthquake here lasts over 30 seconds. They cut the bottom and the top off. I would dare say this earthquake is at least a 3.0, 3.5 earthquake. 3.0, 3.5 earthquake here. Just by this sequence here, they cut off the bottom and the top. It shows maybe a 2.6, 2.7 earthquake. This was at least a 3.0, 3.5 earthquake here, lasting 30 seconds. Yes, we have a lot of 2.5, 2.6, 2.7 earthquakes here. Look at this. There's midnight over on the left-hand side. All this activity happened between 1:30 and midnight. 1:30 and midnight here. Look what happens the rest of the morning. Look what happens the rest of the morning. Between midnight and 6:30, nothing. Literally nothing. We have some tiny tremors here. Largest tremors may be 1.7. Why? Because they turned down the strength of the seismograph. They turned down the strength of the seismograph, guys. They turned down the strength of the seismograph sometime after 11 p.m. last night. They did not turn it back up until after 5 a.m. That's why we don't see as many earthquakes here during this time period. Before last year, we had earthquakes all day long. 24 hours of earthquakes all day long here. We had anywhere between 75 and 150 earthquakes here a day. Last night, look at this. Maybe 40 earthquakes here. Maybe 40 earthquakes here caused by magma here. Magma here, guys. Down beneath the surface of the earth here. Calipatria, California. Then later this morning, look what happened. Look what happened after 4:30 this morning. There's probably 60 to 65 earthquakes right here. Look at the seismic signals here. The seismic signals have been cut off here. The sequences have been cut off at the top and the bottom. These are 3.0 plus large earthquakes. I shouldn't say large, they're 3.0, maybe 3.5 small earthquakes here. But they've been cut off. The agency doesn't want us to know how strong these earthquakes are. Heaven forbid. Heaven forbid. This happens every day. This kind of seismic activity happens every day, yet they don't show it on the USGS map. Heaven forbid they show the seismic energy. They show there's earthquakes here. There are. They're literally all day long. That's Calipatria. Now let's jump down south to Imperial, the town of Imperial here. Look at this. Look at this. Sorry about that. This shows a bunch of tremors here. Microquakes and tremors here. Then all of a sudden last night after 9 p.m., 9:30, on the blue line here. Okay? Starts off with tremors. 1, 2, 3.5 minutes of tremors. Then we have a 2.5, 2.6 earthquake. More tremors and microquakes here. Just 1 minute later, 2.6, 2.7 earthquake. Then tremors 2.0s again. We have several 2.6, 2.7 earthquakes here. Then the secondary wave lasts after that. The secondary wave lasts 1, 2, 3, 4.5 minutes. That means these 2.6, 2.7 earthquakes are probably 3.0, 3.2. 3.0, 3.2 earthquakes. Why? Because the secondary wave means something. The secondary wave means that this seismograph was turned down, number one. Number two, that's kind of secondary wave, this earthquake was stronger. The primary wave was stronger than that. Stronger than they're showing here. But it's amazing. It's literally amazing that they're not showing anything but tremors here. And one seismic sequence where we have tremors, we have minor earthquakes, stepping up all the way up to maybe a 3.3 earthquake. Yeah. The town of Imperial is real. The town of Imperial is real, guys. We have earthquakes here every day. USGS didn't want to say it, but there are earthquakes every day. Then we go over to another place called El Centro, California. We have one of our own family members here. His name is Juanito and his family. Look what's happened here in El Centro. Prior to a year ago, all we had here were tremors and minor earthquakes. Tremors and minor 2.0 to 2.3, 2.4 earthquakes. Now, every day without fail, we have probably close to 30 earthquakes here today. 33.0 and stronger earthquakes here today. Juanito said in the past when he's been here on the chat, he's verified that these earthquakes have hit. He has verified that the earthquakes have hit. We have multiple 3.0 earthquakes here. Four at the very top. Between 5 a.m. and 6:35. 4 3.0 earthquakes there. Then down here after 8:15, there's another one. 2, 3, 4, 5, 8:20 a.m. this morning on the red line. 3.0 earthquake. 8:31, another 3.0 earthquake. We have another after 12:15. I believe we had another at 12:32. We had another at 12:51 this afternoon. And possibly another one just before that at 12:44 this morning, or this afternoon, 12:44 this afternoon. 3.0 earthquakes here in the town of El Centro. I show you where that is. On or just west of the San Andreas Fault. The sound force is more. I want to take you out to Holtville, California. I want to show you this. Holtville is on the San Andreas Fault in the southern part of the Imperial Valley. Look what's happening here, guys. Look what's happening here. The top black line here is 5 a.m., nothing but tremors. More tremors at 5:15. 6:30 on the blue line. After that, the tremors get larger. 6:32 this morning. 2.7, 2.8 earthquake. Tremors and minor earthquakes literally all day long here. Look at this. All over the place. Tremors and minor earthquakes literally all day long here. Holtville, California. But there's more. Let's go up to the center part of the east side of the Salton Sea. This is where the San Andreas Fault goes all the way down the east side of the Salton Sea until it gets to Bombay Beach. Bombay Beach is where the San Andreas Fault goes underneath the Salton Sea. Look at the earthquakes here. Why are we seeing earthquakes like this? The San Andreas Fault here, guys. The San Andreas Fault is busy. The seismic sequences on this seismogram are cut off at the top and the bottom, which means these earthquakes were larger. The agency does not want to show us how large they were. That's why they cut the tops and bottom off. Yes, we are seeing 3.0, 3.5, possibly even 3.9, 4.0 earthquakes here. Bombay Beach every day. Every day they hit here. Okay? Usually about 20 3.0 earthquakes and larger. 20 of them every day. How'd you like to be out here in an RV? People here come to Bombay Beach to stand at Bombay Beach. Watch the water. The water's polluted. You don't dare go in it. You'll burn your feet, burn your legs. Toxic waste in the water. But people vacation here all the time. They bring their RVs, their trailers, their campers out here to Bombay Beach. There's even a coffee shop out here. Bombay Beach used to be a spa. Used to be a spa. It's been abandoned for about 50 years, 50, 60 years. Probably 70 years by now. Back in the 50s and early 60s, this was a swinging place. Not swingers, but there was a lot of moviegoers here, movie actors and actresses. This is a place to be here at the Salton Sea, Bombay Beach. And over on the other side of the Salton Sea at Salton City. All kinds of activity. I could show you pictures of people here at Bombay Beach and also at Salton City. Everywhere. Come here to be here during the summer and the fall and the spring. Fall and spring, it gets pretty cold here in the wintertime in the early morning, late night hours. But then the temperatures rise about 60, 65 degrees in the winter. In the late spring, early summer, now temperatures get up here to 100 plus degrees, 105, 107. I've seen 114 degree temperatures here at Bombay Beach and down here in the Imperial Valley. Yeah, pretty hot. Any questions about what the earthquakes are doing here in the Imperial Valley? We have a volcano on the southern side of the Salton Sea called Salton Butte Volcano. That is the other reason for all these earthquakes here. It's a Salton Butte volcano. It's moving. It's moving, guys. That's what's going on here. Don Patoka says USPS on furlough. Yeah, they are. 21 days now. 21 days of being furloughed here by the Democrats. Democrat Party. Chuck Schumer, Mr. Jeffries. Don't want to work, but they're getting paid. I signed a petition today. I signed a petition earlier today on Facebook telling them to get their butts back to working. Because the Republicans are now getting to the point where they are going to issue a law. They're going to issue a law because if the Democrats don't come back to work, they're not going to get paid. They're hanging out around the Capitol in Washington. They're over in California, helping with protests in California. They're in New York City helping with protests, the No Kings protest. Really? Guys, guess what happened in New York City during the weekend? The No Kings protest. If you listen to NBC or ABC News this weekend, they said there were probably 2 million people crowd in New York City at the New Kings protest. No, there weren't. There might have been 2,000 or 3,000, but they're nowhere near 10, 50,000 people. Nowhere near it. What happened? ABC and NBC News used a photograph from December 31st. December 31st, showing a huge crowd in downtown New York City. It was not October 19th, October 18th. The crowds in New York and Los Angeles and San Diego did not even come close to the thousands of people they said were there. Hundreds of people in Los Angeles and hundreds of people in San Diego protested, but that's all. Maybe a few hundred people in Dallas, Fort Worth, Houston. But there were not thousands and upwards of millions of people doing it like the news media would have you see. Not happening. They know where the bread's buttered on. Yes, there's people like George Soros and others paying them thousands of dollars to protest. Yes, the media is getting paid, and also George Soros is making sure the protesters are also getting paid. Yeah. They're camping out on the streets. You can't possibly camp out on the streets in tents unless somebody's paying for the tents and paying for them to eat. Yeah. Unreal. No, I'm sorry, McDuck. I'm not lying at all. Go back to Fox News. Go back to Newsmax. They will verify that there was not that many people there. McDuck says 7 million people nationwide. They're wrong. The news media is wrong. False information, guys. False information, Mr. McDuck. You're gone. You're gone. Mr. McDuck's lying like everybody else, like all the news media. Does anybody have any questions about the earthquakes that we talked about? Anybody have questions? I've shown you this information because it's important. My buddy Rob 52 is here, which I greatly appreciate. I love you, Rob. You're a good man. I love all of you. I love all of you that are here. I love all of our moderators also. Thank you all for being here. Now, at the end of this program, we almost always give you a devotional. The devotional I'm going to give you today is a prayer given by a prophet. A prophet. The prophet Nephi. I, having been born of goodly parents, therefore I was taught somewhat in the learning of my father, and having seen many afflictions in the course of my days, nevertheless, having been highly favored of the Lord in all my days, yea, having had a great knowledge of the goodness and the mysteries of God, therefore I make record of my proceedings in my days. Nephi, been born of goodly parents, made a record in the scriptures. I also have a journal. I've been keeping records myself and my family and my siblings. I've also got a journal here on YouTube called Emergency Management Associates, showing all over the world, all the time, every day, Monday through Friday, of exactly what's going on around the world. We talk about emergencies, we talk about disasters. all the time. All the time. I, Ron Tyler, being born of goodly parents, I made a record as well. Why am I talking about this? Maybe each one of us needs to make a record of our family and ourselves. That way, when our grandparents come back by, when our grandchildren come back by, they're going to see a record of Heather. They're going to see a record of Ron. They're going to see a record of Heidi. They're going to see a record of Rob. They're going to see a record of Kathy, Cindy, John, Joe. All of us. Our families are going to see records of what we did and what we saw and what we see. It's time for us to keep records, brothers and sisters. It's time for us to keep records for our family to go back and learn about us, what we did, what we saw, what we said. Brothers and sisters, I have a testimony of the gospel of Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ is the Son of God, our King, our deliverer, our all, the light and life of the world. Maybe it's time we make a record of ourselves, so our children will also know of Jesus Christ and know what we thought of Jesus Christ as well. Brothers and sisters, I think it's important. I wouldn't be talking about it. It's high time we also worship with our children as much as possible. Teaching our children and grandchildren who we are, what we believe. Because then we are going to take that knowledge with us, not just to the grave, but with our families as well. And their families after that. May God bless each one of us. As I said, I have a testimony of Jesus Christ, and it is awesome. It is awesome. I spent years and years teaching. I spent years and years learning of the gospel. I'm just an instructor. I'm just a teacher, a missionary. But brothers and sisters, it's high time each one of us be that as well. Let's each one of us be a missionary. Let's each one of us keep a record of our lives, so our children, grandchildren, others will know what we did. May God bless you. May God be with you this day and always. Brothers and sisters, I love each and every one of you. You guys are awesome. You guys really are awesome. Have a good night. Be safe out there. We'll see you tomorrow evening. If anything else happens tonight, we'll be back on the air to tell you about it as soon as the information becomes available into the morning hours as well. Take care, everybody. God bless. See you soon. Good night.
Here at Emergency Management Associates, we're dedicated and true, bringing you the essential knowledge, helping you see things through. From disaster preparedness to navigating recovery's embrace, we're here to guide you in every unpredictable time and place. We break down the complex, make it easy to grasp and absorb, sharing strategies for safety, the vital lessons you can't afford to hoard. So thank you for watching, and thank you so much for your sub. You're a key part of our growing family, a member of our knowledge club. With With every like, every share, and every comment you send our way, our critical message spreads further, helping more people every single day. Together we're stronger and more prepared. That's the truth we all abide. You help us build resilience with nowhere for uncertainty to hide. Your engagement truly inspires us. Your feedback acts as a guiding light, helping us continually grow and making our channel's future bright. We're always learning.